Okay, it looks like we are live. Hello and welcome to Talk Chef. I am one of your hosts, Reka.
I'm your other host, Jordan.
And today we have a very special guest from this actual season, Top Chef Houston, Robert Hernandez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. This is really exciting.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you for being on the show.
I'm so thrilled. We still think about the gnocchi you made early on in the season. Looked really freaking incredible. So happy to have you on.
Oh, thank you.
You're the reason why I won the first week of Reka and I's Top Chef Fantasy League.
True.
So I owe a lot.
Yeah, you're lying.
I'm sorry about the fifth.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
don't apologize. I just wanted to win the first one, and then that's all that really mattered to me. I can't pay attention past that.
I'll be honest. Oh, go ahead. You be honest first.
I mean, honestly, I also wanted to win the first one. I didn't want to be the first one eliminated.
Yeah.
So I like checked all the boxes. On
yeah.
The
Absolutely. I love this. Okay. So before we dive in, actually, we have a couple orders of business. One being Talk Chef is a food charity-based live stream. At the end of our last couple of seasons, we've raised money for a different food-based charity. Last season, we raised over $3,000 for farm worker justice in one evening. So thank you.
Incredible. And they probably used all that money because Coachella was last weekend and this weekend. As we know, Coachella, iconically, Reka and I are not. Coachella's not a fan of the show, not a friend of the show. You guys know that. And Farm Worker Justice helps a lot of people who are displaced in the Coachella Valley during Coachella because prices get so high.
Oh, wow.
Who actually live there can't exist there anymore during these 2 weekends and like festival season. So you guys helped people that need your help right now. So that's great. So thank you.
That's awesome. And if you didn't go to Coachella, in a way, you also helped again.
Yeah, if you didn't go to Coachella, you are part of the solution.
You're an ally.
Yeah.
You're an ally.
I mean, that was the main reason why I didn't go to Coachella, or why I haven't been to Coachella ever. So
absolutely.
Really? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's our first order of business. So stay tuned for the end of the season when we'll announce our fun little fundraiser day and what charity we're raising money for. Our second order of business, Robert, is something we didn't tell you, which maybe you gleaned because you saw a couple episodes of Top Chef, but it's that just like every episode of Top Chef has a quick fire, except for this, so does every episode of Talk Chef. It is not cooking based. It is all Robert preference based, and it is 10 questions, but it is the fastest quick fire in the world. It's 45 seconds long.
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
In case you need extra motivation, if kind of you're an incentive-based person, there are some prizes at stake. Now, one of these prizes is a little topical to this episode. It is a deed to the Terlato Wine Vineyard, which it's perhaps the first episode in every episode we have covered with our Talk Chef family where the word Terlato is spoken aloud. We didn't make it up, everyone. This is a wine that Top Chef shakes hands with a lot.
I was shocked. It's been so long too. I mean, we know in past seasons, obviously they've sponsored, but Terlato was like under some kind of crazy, they were doing a long siesta or hibernation. I don't know what was going on. And then they randomly just popped up in this episode.
I think we definitely had a lot of that type of wine during the show. I don't remember, but there was definitely wine involved.
And Robert, did you like it?
It was amazing.
We've gotten mixed results from different Top Chef contestants.
I think because I'm still on the show, or I'm like, it was fantastic.
You love the wine.
You loved the wine. And then I loved the wine too.
And I also
absolutely.
Weirdly, wait, what the hell? I'm obsessed with this wine.
Yeah, I actually have some few cases in my
oh
closet.
My God, cases, maybe just for one night, but I have to get troughs to satisfy me for the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, as much as we drag Terlato, you have to remember that we do love anything and everything Top Chef. So if Terlato is making Top Chef possible, then Reka and I love it, would drink it by the boatful, would fill a pool with it and swim in it. Like, we're here for it.
Marry Danny Tortellini, who founded it or whatever.
Yes.
So you will win a deed to that vineyard. If you complete this
Okay.
quick fire, you will also win your own personal suite of broken GE appliances, just like you
Okay.
see on the show. We're talking about live in action, an oven that doesn't get up to temperature. We're talking about a fryer that doesn't get up to temperature. We're talking about a refrigerator whose door doesn't shut. All of this could be yours, Chef Robert. Are you
Great.
ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to start a timer for 45 seconds after Jordan finishes asking question 1.
Okay.
Straighten my septum ring and then we're ready to go. Okay. What is your signature dish?
I don't have a signature dish.
What is your least favorite food?
Black licorice.
Restaurant wars, hot or not?
Hot.
What would you name your restaurant?
M&M.
Southern comfort or Southeast Asian inspired?
Southern Comfort.
Who is your top chef BFF?
Sarah Welch.
Who is your favorite contestant of all time?
I don't have one, but I'm going to say Sarah Hammond because I worked with her.
Who is your favorite judge?
Gail.
What is the number one flaw of Top Chef?
The broken GE appliances.
How great are Jordan and Reika?
Amazing. 100.
Oh my God!
Absolutely crushed it.
Okay, wow. All of those prizes are going to be shipped to your home almost immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And I do have to also say that most Top Chef contestants that come on our show are very bad at our quick fire, regardless of how they do at the regular.
Usually they can do a pittance of a quick fire, like, I don't know, make an appetizer in 8 seconds, but they can't handle the heat when it comes to answering 10 stupid questions.
Well, I was terrible at quick fire, so I mean, this balances it all out.
Christine is pointing out that something I've noticed as well, which is that a lot of contestants say Gail is their favorite judge, which is
everyone says that.
Yeah. I mean, she just has this like very ethereal kind of type of person.
Yeah.
And even when like you're at the bottom, she always has amazing things to say about your food. And yeah, she was my favorite.
I
Absolutely.
would like to kiss her on the mouth.
Oh,
I'm allowed to say that.
Many people.
I think that would be great. I think she's the number one kiss I would like from the show. I think I've decided, which is new.
Okay.
I know, Reika. I think it's new.
Padma. Okay.
I think over Padma now because Gail's energy has been feeling.
I think she has a nice.
She's
I
very
want to grab drinks with Gail. I want to grab drinks and dinner with Gail.
You want to kiss
absolutely.
Padma?
Do I want to kiss Padma?
More than Gail?
I don't know. I'd have to kind of. I'll weigh in at the end of the episode. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're both great.
They both seem wonderful.
Both options would be fantastic. I mean, I don't kiss women, but you know, if I were to kiss a woman, I think I would definitely go for Gail.
Okay.
I can kiss one of them at the end of this season. The producers of Top Chef have let me know that I will get to kiss one of my choice.
Okay.
I'm working really hard to petition for that. So that's awesome. Thank you to everyone who signed that change.org position.
I got 35,000 signatures on change.org, and now I will be kissing one of the judges.
Incredible. So cool. Kind of like a weird Make-A-Wish, but Jordan isn't sick.
I'm not sick. I'm almost 30 years old.
Incredible. Well, let's dive into this episode. Now,
alrighty.
Talk Chef viewers know Restaurant Wars is a bit of a contentious concept. Some people love it, some people hate it. Now, Robert, in the quickfire, Restaurant Wars hot or not, you said hot. Do you stand by that?
I think so. I think when it comes to the competition itself, I think it shows leadership. It really shows if chefs can actually like run a restaurant, which is I think really important when you're a chef, running your own restaurant. I think, yes, it's hard to put together a restaurant in such a small amount of time, but it's a really, really great challenge to like showcase who you are as a chef, I think, especially as a leader,
Now, follow-up question, because
okay.
One of the main criticisms Talk Chef Nation has with Restaurant Wars is usually it's pretty hard to like remember the food. There's so much stress going on around it. And I think they've improved that. They've like gotten servers where like that don't seem to actively be like sabotaging things. They've like not made them set up the decor as much, it seems.
Yeah.
Things that seem to actively take away from like food. Because in the earlier seasons, you'll notice like the food will be like kind of the last thought. So do you have any thoughts on that, or like feel like that's getting less and less true, or it's still true, or not true at all?
I think it is changing. I think it's focusing more on the food. But I think it's important, like I said, when you're running your own restaurant, you're not just in charge of the food. You're not just in charge of one team. You're in charge of an entire restaurant.
Right.
And I think it's important to be able to like put your hands into everything, especially when you are expediting and you are running a service. You need to be able to like really know and understand what's going on the other side of the kitchen. But yeah, I think it's definitely changed a lot, or at least I don't know if it's edited that way to be seen to where they're not really focusing in on that aspect. But yeah, I think it's nicer to focus on the food as opposed to the whole entity, but it really does showcase you as a chef, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of controversial possible opinion. I think my favorite Restaurant Wars idea was from season 17, where it was in Los Angeles. It was the All-Star season, and what they had to do was they had to pitch a concept. And that was the concept that got picked to be a restaurant. I like that because it didn't seem, it's like a passion project, right? It felt like you were just always going to generate. And like, I think this episode, all things considered, had two pretty good restaurants, because they didn't go the way of like sort of failed restaurant or concepts where they're like, what if you cook Mediterranean food, I cook Japanese food, you do American, and we call it World or whatever. So there's nuance to Restaurant Wars.
I did like 17, but then you have people like Stephanie who are private chefs, right? Who never want to open a restaurant. And so it's like, okay, so what? It's like, of course, I'm not going to win this one. You know, that's not going to be my concept. But yeah, I definitely do love the idea of like putting together a pitch and kind of figuring out a restaurant. But you know, when you're an all-star, I think at that point you've like really focused on your career. You know exactly what you want to do moving forward, as opposed to people like ourselves who are getting on a show like this. It's like, okay, this is going to help our career out. We're trying to figure out exactly what it is that we want to do after this, you know? But yeah, I love that idea as well.
Absolutely. So let's freaking dive in. So we get Restaurant Wars. Everyone anticipates it. Everyone knows it's happening. We do a knife pull for who is team leader, but really just the person that picks. The chef can be anyone. Jay and Nick get to do the picking. Nick picks Damar, Ashley, and Buddha. And Jay picks Evelyn, Jackson, and Luke. The two concepts they come up with, it seems pretty effortlessly. I mean, I'm sure there's hemming and hawing they put out, but are pretty strong concepts at the gate. Nick's team picks kind of a matriarch theme, like let's make Southern comfort food, kind of honoring our matriarchal lineage. And Jay's team picks Southeast Asian food and names it No Name after Name or Nem, the sausage. So that's awesome. I thought those were two really solid, cool ideas. And I would be really excited to try both of those. And
for sure.
Kind of mini twist is they're serving it at a chef's counter in addition to a restaurant. So they're kind of combining what they had to do during the COVID Portland season. Regular Restaurant Wars, which is intimidating. Being able to hear the chefs or hear the judges talk. Basically. Had you ever heard the judges as they were eating your food? If that's kosher to reveal.
Yes. During the night market.
I
was able to hear. But you only hear like tits and bits. You don't really hear the whole thing. Everything's, I mean, and I was also put in a corner, so I couldn't really hear very much. But that was the only time that I was able. Oh, also during the football challenge, because you're literally just right there. But yeah, I mean,
absolutely. And another little thing is the prize is $40,000. I feel like that's much higher or more compelling than some restaurant prizes.
I mean, I don't even think that's ever happened, right? And no one's
won
$40,000.
So I think Sometimes we joke about the prizes on this show. Sometimes it'll be like, you win a trip to Italy for 2 weeks. Or it'll be like, you win a book signed by me. Okay, awesome. So we kind of are off to the races here on these menus and these dishes. We get a couple moments of drama. For instance, Demar's oven temperature was a little too low when he was making his carrot cake. So he kind of thought he had to pivot. It didn't seem like he ended up having to pivot too hard, maybe just cut around the parts that didn't work out, but it still looked like a composed carrot cake. It didn't look like huge
Well, I think he changed his whole concept.
Really?
Well, because at first he was going to do like a semi-freddo.
Oh,
and a carrot cake.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Wow. So it's a completely different dish. I mean, you can maneuver the semi-freddo into an ice cream, but it's not, I think, what he wanted. But I mean, he was really excited about the carrot cake itself.
It might honestly speak to a strength of his then that I'm like, I didn't even freaking remember. And I just watched this. Because like when you can have that confidence to pivot and know the thing you're making is good.
Yeah.
That really helps.
He's a silent killer. He's very head down, and
I love him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I love him. I think he might win. I don't know. I'm pulling for him. I really like him. My family's from Jackson as well. So I'm like, hit it, King. I'm like, go for it. Show the world that Jackson has good food.
Yes.
I want to know, where do we stand on carrot cake? Are we into it? Are we not into it? Are there like renditions of it we like or don't like?
I actually really enjoy carrot cake, just no raisins.
Yes.
And no nuts.
Okay, I can do a nut. Okay. I can do a walnut.
Now, Jordan, I'm actually surprised you like carrot cake.
I love carrot cake because it's like, to me, it feels like, this sounds stupid, but it doesn't, so I don't like fruit, Robert. That's something you should know about me. Like, it's fine, it's whatever, but like, I think people are like, oh my God, fruit. And I'm like, citrus is amazing, but like, also, there's no fruit that's as delicious as an onion. It's just not, I refuse to believe it. Me personally, I'm a vegetable kind of guy. So carrot cake is exactly that. It's a vegetable in a dessert. So I like it.
Okay.
And then there's frosting, and frosting's my favorite food.
Oh, I remove frosting from cake. It's just not my thing.
I do actually I like people like you though, Robert, because I like to go to parties with you, because then they scoop their frosting off and I say, may I eat that with a spoon like it's soup? And they say, sure. And it's a beautiful little match made in heaven.
Well, it's just whipped butter with sugar, right?
Well, Well,
for the most part.
On a carrot cake,
it's cream cheese. Yeah.
Which I love.
I do like cream cheese, but I like no frosting, and I do like pineapple in my carrot cake.
Okay.
I
like too.
Yeah. Well, because that's how we would. I mean, my aunt growing up, and she like took care of us as kids, and so she was really into like clipping recipes and then just testing them out. And so carrot cake was one of those things that she had clipped a recipe out and she would do it over and over and over again. So it's carrots and pineapple. And I don't think we ever had frosting on it.
That's wild to me. I love frosting so much.
I mean, I'll have frosting on like a cinnamon bun.
Okay, so like like a powdered sugar water type of frosting, icing.
Royal icing almost. Not really.
Yeah.
It is. Water icing.
Well, more like a cream cheese frosting on a cinnamon bun.
Okay.
But I think because it's like so much hardier, I think it like lends itself to it. But when it comes to cake, I remove.
Okay.
Regardless of the type of frosting. It's just not my thing.
No, it's interesting. It takes all kinds. I'm a huge carrot cake person. I love a fruit-based cake, a spice cake, anything in that fall arena I love, which is why I was also surprised about Jordan, because Jordan doesn't like fall flavors.
The cake, like the carrot, like tempers it a little bit.
Sure.
I like
it. Okay. What's your favorite type of cake?
Okay. Wow. Like a good chocolate cake, like a very moist chocolate cake, I absolutely go bonkers for. I love a coconut cake. I've like never met a cake I didn't like unless it's dry. I don't like anything that's too dry. I love, and I know people have a problem with the word moist, and those people can take that up with my lawyer because I love it. I think it's an incredible word, and I want everything I eat to be moist.
Yes.
I mean, not everything, but
I don't know. Moist potato chip? I haven't had.
Well, what about like a croissant or like a baguette?
No, I want a moist croissant because I want it to be like.
Here's something fucked up, and Jordan, I wonder if you agree. Sometimes a baguette, the outside's too hard.
Absolutely.
But what if you're in France, like walking around and you're like, oh, I want a baguette and some cheese, you know?
Okay. This is also something that's messed up. I don't think France is that great. Okay, I'll say it. Okay. I think France is fine. So I don't romanticize that specifically. Okay. I'm more likely to be like eating like a banh mi on a baguette, right? That's like a more of a sell to me, but that's because there's like sauce on it and stuff. It's making it a little wet, a little soft. And with a croissant, I want a croissant that has like chocolate or almond or something in it, making the inside kind of moist.
I like that too.
Okay.
We're too moist over here.
It's a sickness.
You know what? This is why we'd all get along at a party, because there's going to be our dry heads, and then we got Team Moist over here, and we are not going to be fighting for the same foods. And
that's true.
I mean, I do agree on things needing to be moist, but there's like some things that I, me personally, but chocolate cake is my favorite cake as well. Good. And I have a great devil's food cake recipe that I can send over.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
And it's easy. You don't have to like whip cream and sugar together. Like it's just like, it's super easy. It's delicious.
Okay, we will be making it. So
okay, I made it a lot during quarantine, during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah,
when everyone was getting like tired of bread, I started making chocolate cake to the point where at the time my roommate was like, you cannot make this cake anymore because we keep consuming it too much.
Sure.
But chocolate cake, anything chocolate is my favorite.
That's how I feel, Robert.
Dessert.
Okay, wow. Okay. Gorgeous. It is so funny because I love talking about dessert so much. I did not realize we maybe just talked about cake for 10 minutes in Restaurant Wars episode.
Okay, sorry.
No, you do not need, it's our passion. Cake is our passion. Okay. The real two big moments of drama before we get to the actual dishes are one, when Padma orders Terlato wine. That to me means
huge.
It's actually huge. She's like, can I get the Terlato Pinot Grigio? I'm like, as if it comes in typed. Come on.
My roommate was watching it with me and he screamed when she said Terlato. He was like, ah!
You're getting Terlato red and Terlato white. Don't you dare try to specify.
As if that's what Padma orders like at a restaurant.
Yeah. She's like, excuse from the back, can I get the Terlato? Okay. Here's the big jaw drop for me. Jackson, every episode has been saying he got COVID slightly before the show. Huge bummer. He has lost his sense of taste and smell. It doesn't seem to have been a huge issue for him. He's been crushing it. But we get this team challenge where we wonder, do you need to bring it up to the rest of your team? Because he's tasting stuff and offering an opinion on whether it is seasoned enough. And I think that is your opportunity to go, hey, I have to sit that out. I actually, have this issue. But we can open the floor. And Robert, and he's a friend, so you don't have to comment on it whatsoever. We're not trying to disparage. It is just a simple moment that happened in the episode.
So nobody knew, right?
No, well, I thought everyone knew.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if that was like a fake reveal for drama.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was like something he went out and like was like, this is something that's going on.
Right.
But I thought he had told Sarah and I on our first challenge. But I can also just be mistaken just because, days are long.
I feel like I remember it being talked about in earlier episodes. And I feel like if it was like a big secret, that would have been brought up. That would have been teased earlier in the season.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't actually remember. I thought I knew, but also maybe not.
Yeah.
But I mean, only Jackson knows really.
And to his credit, other people did taste the dish, so could have
Yeah.
but you know, I felt some sympathy for Luke kind of being a team player. Like Luke has pulled the card of I don't make this cuisine every episode, but I sympathize that he's trying to really do justice to Southeast Asian cultures and is like,
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, just make sure you help me like taste that what I'm doing is good and whatever.
Yeah.
So to get, 25% of your team saying it tastes too salty when they can't taste, huge bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that he is doing a good job. I wasn't like crazy about him at first because he was like, big time Noma guy, which I'm like, whatever. And then I don't know, I was just hesitant. White people are bad. And then he, him being like any cuisine that's not like Eurocentric, he was kind of like, I don't know about that. But he did really well in the Indian challenge when he had to cook Indian food. And I felt like he really tried to like eat that food and find out more about it. And I felt like similarly he did this with respect. Yeah, and I think like him talking about, like I said, like my girlfriend has a learning disability, and watching that episode with her where like he talked about his learning disability, I think was really cool. And like, like maybe he did just pick one thing to focus on and really focused on that because like that's what's easier for him in the terms of like where he's at. And but I think he's been really open to other stuff. And I think that is really cool. He's like really, really grown on me the last few episodes.
Yeah. But then also it's like, when you go on the show, they really focus on like, what's your cuisine? Like, what is your style of food? Right. It's like, that's like the biggest thing that they're about. It's like when you're looking at the episodes, Tom's always like, well, what was your story behind this dish? How does this represent who you are as a chef in your cuisine? Right. So I think he went into it being like, okay, I'm going to show off my Nordic style of cuisine. And then you get hit with all this other stuff, but I do really love that he was able to be like, I don't know this. Because a lot of the times, a lot of chefs, a lot of cooks don't say I don't know, right? They go and they just do, and then people who run the restaurant have to end up like figuring it out at the end of the day. So I'm really glad he was able to be like, I don't know how to do this. I need help. You need to guide me, especially if we're going to focus on a style of cuisine that I have no idea about. So I give him props for that.
That's such a good point. I didn't even think of it like that, but it's really brave, especially on national TV, to admit that you don't know how to do something.
Yeah. It's brave to do that. And you brought up something else interesting, Robert, which is the idea that as much as we love Top Chef for being one of the food shows that is to me the most about the food and the cooking, it is also trying to brand you guys as certain things if it can, not only helps them, ideally helps you guys as well. And so if your thing is you cooked at Noma, to Luke's credit, he's not the one that marched into the kitchen bragging about it. They call it out on the first, like, by the way, at Noma, and kind of put a target on your back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel that energy because I, as some of you know, started working for a new company, and they keep promoting this article I wrote, and they keep bringing it up in like every interview I have. And it's about the fact that I like to eat mustard, and they keep bringing it up, and it's like great. But I'm sure people are like, is this person's only thing that they like to eat mustard? And I'm like, no, I have other things. It's just sometimes when like a place finds that one thing, they like to like really feature that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it's something I talked about on the show a little bit, just about like being mentored by people who are like really highly acclaimed, right? It's like you're put into this environment where now you have this like ladder that you have to climb, where you have to always prove yourself to be as worthy as the person who like runs, Noma or whatever. So you always have, like you said, this target on your back to always have to be the best, this excellence, right? Which I think is terrible when it comes to just like the restaurant industry as a whole, right? Any industry really, right? It's like these awards kind of like consume you, and it's kind of what you become, right? It's like Noma, oh, I'm the number one restaurant in the world. But when you remove Noma and you're put into a different place, it's like, how can I thrive? It's a different environment. It's a different scenario. It's like we're not picking things up from the ground and like plating this because this is all we have, right? So it's like coming from a place where you've cooked the same thing for 9 years. It's kind of difficult to get out of that. But then
Yeah.
on top of that, you have the pressure of this like really highly acclaimed restaurant and always have to be the best. And it's like, it sucks, you know? So
Yeah.
I feel I feel bad for him sometimes because it's like, I mean, you're nicknamed the Noma guy, you know, but
that sounds like the worst nickname in the world. It only makes me think that you are hoity-toity when you could be very nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the first episode, I was like, okay, well, this guy's gonna be a jerk. Like, and the whole time I was kind of like, okay. And he like never was me.
Never said anything me. Yeah, exactly.
No, he said almost nothing in general. He's like, seems like a very nice, quiet man.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's get into these dishes at these restaurants. So at Matriarch, our first course is by Buddha, and it's Parker House rolls with ham butter, smoked fish, crab tarts, and fried oysters with comeback sauce. This sounds fucking awesome. I love when anyone on the show makes bread. They said these were the best breads they had on the show. I'm here thinking, in season 13, Marjorie made Parker House rolls that made you die. Wow, that rules. Buddha, please come on the show. Please send me Parker House rolls.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
It looked so good. And I'm also, comeback dressing or comeback sauce is like one of my favorite sauces in the entire world. It's kind of like a Thousand Island for anyone who hasn't had it, but more savory. And it's really popular in Mississippi. My family grew up like putting it on like saltine crackers, even though it is in fact a salad dressing. It's so good that you just eat it on saltines. And yeah, it's like a Thousand Island, but instead of like the sweet relish, you basically put like grated onion in it, I would say. So it's like zestier.
I think like that more than Thousand Island.
I like it. I think you would like it a lot, Reika.
Yeah.
I do love a Thousand Island though.
Yeah.
On a burger.
Oh yeah.
A burger, that's nice. Something that's already salty and super savory.
Absolutely.
Okay, second course is from Ashley. Salmon tartare with buttermilk pearls and peaches. This sounds okay.
This sounds good.
You know, I think more buttermilk pearls. I'm always for like a big sour element or like that kind of fermented taste on top of something like that. So I want more pearls. Now,
I mean, it definitely seemed like there wasn't very many pearls.
Exactly.
Especially when you want like some crunch.
Yes.
You know.
Now here we go. Third course. Ashley comes in with the gumbo, the green gumbo with red rice and seasoning meat is what it says. This looked fucking awesome. I wanted to take a bath in it.
I love gumbo herbs, so I was very here for this.
Yes.
I don't think I can like define what a gumbo is, or I mean not what it tastes like. I don't think I've lived to be like, this is what gumbo tastes like. I've never actually been to the South. Well, that's not true. I was in Texas. But I've never gone and had gumbo in the South.
I've never really had gumbo because I became a vegetarian very, very young. And don't eat fish or shellfish or anything. So I've had a vegetarian gumbo. It was pretty good, but I had it here and I'm sure it's wrong.
Just have my dad make you gumbo.
Okay, where's my invitation?
I don't know. Just go.
Up your ass. I don't know.
Message my dad or something. I don't know. He'll make you gumbo.
Yeah, I'll text your dad. Then we get this fourth course from Nick. Barbecue strip loin with potatoes and oxtail marmalade. Ah! This looks so good.
It looked delicious.
And then our fifth course from Damar, our Lord and Savior. Carrot caramel, coconut, and candied ginger. Pew, 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 pew.
We love
Can I have another cake detour and say,
sure.
I had cake at Rustic Canyon in Santa Monica, and they do, it's a really carroty carrot cake. And on top, they had little like gummy carrots.
Oh, was it good?
It was really good. Remember when Carrie made gummy beets in Top Chef Colorado?
Oh, yeah.
It was like that, but carrots. It's so good. So.
Oh, interesting.
Just letting everybody know.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it for Matriarch. That looked awesome. I am truly, my stomach is rumbling right now. I
really hope they like pop it up. I
that
hope
would
they do
be
like
so cool. Yeah. And they should do it here. Sorry. Because I know that the Restaurant Wars concept from Portland did a pop-up, showed up, and all of them, and that looked awesome. Okay, so no nem. Evelyn starts us off with Panipori with shrimp, passion fruit, and Thai basil. No, listen. Listen.
I gotta hold Rika back.
Listen. Whenever I've had Panipori, you dunk it in a thing of liquid and you eat, and it's like eating a bowl of soup. And you get to eat the bowl. So I'm not quite sure if you can't see the liquid basically almost falling out of the top, if it counts. Now, this is my particular Indian bias. The flavors sound really good. It maybe sounds too sweet for me for a Panipori, but
yeah, it sounds good. But Reka, I, completely agree with you. I think I'm kind of like, this feels like a different thing. This feels like maybe a little like bird's nest more along that line, like something a little different. I thought the concept was great, but yeah, if I'm getting Panipuri, I'm like, give me the wet,
Wet.
Well, I will say though, I mean, when you're on there, you kind of have to like pivot a lot.
Sure.
And you kind of have to try to go with what you think is going to work well, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to sit there for a little while. I mean, you don't really know.
That is what kind of surprised me about serving it, because I was like, oh, is it going to come with like a little bowl that you like?
Yeah.
Is it kind of user friendly? Like you get to dunk it yourself, which I think could be fun, but maybe is a little too messy for people. Because you don't want that to just like sit there. It's like an all situation. So maybe not the best choice. Maybe.
Yeah.
Luke,
but it looked good.
It looked still good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke made chuchi curry with black cod and coconut rice. This looked really good. And when they were talking about the fish, I'm like, it sounds like it was like really fucking good. It's a bummer that it wasn't salty enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then we get this team dish, which is barbecue nem sausage wrap with Brussels sprouts, lettuce, and spicy beans. Oh, and I'm sorry, I skipped something. I'm gonna give the sausage a thumbs up. That looked really, really good. I skipped Jay's dish, perhaps because the sauce looked too good, it made me have a heart attack. Jay made snapper summer rolls with papaya, citrus, and avocado.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous sauce that I want to pour down my throat.
Absolutely.
This whole menu looked fucking good. Then we get this dessert, and listen, they're dunking on this dessert, but I'm dunking it in my mouth. This is shortbread with mandarin orange, citrus curd, and whipped coconut. Y'all can eat my butt. This sounds awesome.
I agree.
I don't care what this is not sophisticated. A big cookie with a big cream. Thank you.
It just felt odd.
It's odd.
It just felt odd.
Sure. Maybe it doesn't go with like the menu cohesively to do like a cookie. Particularly, I'm not sure about.
Well, I don't think it was meant to be a cookie. I think that was the pivot, right? It was like.
It definitely was a pivot.
Yeah, for sure.
I
mean, hey.
Right, we must pivot. I don't know about Southeast Asian cooking. Firstly, South Asia, India is in South Asia. I should just kind of say that to everyone, because a lot of people tell me Southeast Asia, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And if you actually Google it, you will find you are wrong. But at least in South Asian cooking, we don't bake.
Okay.
Cookies are not really a thing. I don't know if that's a thing in Southeast Asian, or it's like they're a thing, but it's like tea biscuits and stuff, like British.
That makes sense, because when I think about like Thai food and Vietnamese food, like obviously I am not an expert, but I don't think of a lot of things that are iconically like baked in an oven.
I feel like it's like custards, or like in Indian food, you have a lot of cashew sweets, like milk sweets and stuff.
Okay.
That's why my parents keep all of our pot lids in the oven. They don't use the oven. It's a drawer. They use it as a drawer.
It's a very Latin thing too. It's like I went home last year, right? Yeah. I'm trying to remember when I went home. But I like cooked for my sisters, and they're like, did you remove everything from the oven? And I was like, was I supposed to remove that? But yeah, they keep pots and pans in
it's
the oven.
Because I bake all the time, and it's like 30 pot lids I have to remove that then take up all of the counter space I would have whatever. Anyway. And then this of course is the last image. This is my roommate's dog. I take pictures of all the dishes, and this is the image that came up afterwards. So that's awesome. cool. So now we're at judges table. Matriarch is pretty obvious. Like, seemed like one of the best concepts or best done restaurants in all of Restaurant Wars.
Yeah.
They won $40,000 for MasterCard with some, funny plug with the ease.
It really made me laugh when they're like, you won $40,000 for something magical. I'm like,
yeah, from MasterCard.
okay, thank you, MasterCard.
Do you mean a bunch of fucking cake I'm gonna buy?
Yeah.
And the winner from that team was Ashley, which I was really happy about. I think we were so excited for her. Like when she said her whole thing was like Appalachian cooking and Appalachian soul. She's had some rocky, episodes. I was really happy to see her pull a win and
yeah.
No Name loses. We get this little drama around Jackson, and we learn that pani is the Hindi word for water. That's super interesting. And then Jackson's eliminated after we learn that.
Yeah.
And we also get kind of a shout out for Jay, which I was really happy about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huge for me that Jackson went home. Robert, for some reason, Jackson has become my nemesis of this season. He's done nothing wrong. Like, I am the problem, not him. I don't know why. I think I just find his smirk. I'm like, oh, you think you're better than everybody else. I don't think he does. He seems very nice. It's just fully me. But he went home this week and I was vindicated.
Were you guys surprised that he went home, or were you?
No, I thought he did. I actually think he's done. It's now become like a joke because at first I was like, oh, he's going to be a douchebag, but he's actually been really nice. But we still just keep up the joke that I hate him. But I think he's done really well all season. I think this was the episode he truly beefed it. I think he did such bad front of house service to the point where I was like, my guy, like how,
it's such a bummer. It's such a bummer.
I was really surprised.
Yeah. Say what the dish is, because I can totally see being in my head and forgetting that. But it's when you're a viewer, you know the rhythms of Restaurant Wars, and it's supposed to be like, here's your course from Mike. It's a beluga whale with blah blah blah. You like gotta explain it.
Yeah. It's not just a normal restaurant.
Yeah, well, just like in general, right? It's like, I mean, I've run food to tables before. I used to work in a restaurant.
Yes.
The restaurant that I ran, we had a chef's table as well. So you would sit in our downstairs kitchen. And so there were times where you would go and you would drop food, right? But I mean, such a normal thing to do when you drop food. It's like, let's talk about it. So I was really surprised that he would just drop food and walk away, even if there's menus down, But like I said earlier, it's such a clusterfuck in your head.
Yeah.
That so many things are going on. It's just, you have cameras everywhere. And
totally.
Yes, I think that's a big thing we forget is that these people are not actors. Like, they're not, like, not is like, sometimes when you see people on a reality TV show and you're like, why are they being so strange? Or why, I've met people from reality TV that are like super nice in real life, but seem horrible on reality TV. And I think having a camera on you, speaking as like, Rake and I are actors, so we're more used to it, but it is a very specific feeling that if you're not used to it, I think it's very disorienting.
Yeah. I definitely ran away from them at some point, especially because, I mean, for us, you're definitely taught to like put your head down and just keep on cooking, right? It's like you're under this stress. At this point, you're under like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? So all you want to do is focus, and then you have someone there following you around, and it's just like, leave me the fuck alone, But yeah, you're put into this like pressured scenario where sometimes if you were in a restaurant, you can take away the kinks, right? If you're going to put a dish on the menu, you get to test it out over and over and over and over again until you get it perfectly, or at least to where you wanted to get it. Whereas in here, you have put dishes together, and you don't get recipes, right? It's like they take everything away from you before you start. But whatever you remember, you can put down. But you don't really know if everything that you're thinking about is gonna work, especially in some of the scenarios. So I mean, for him, especially because he's been in the front of the house for the last couple of years, I was really surprised that he went home during this episode.
Yeah.
Now, Robert, hard pivot here. We've got people
Okay.
asking questions. And the
Okay.
number one question is, how the hell do you make gnocchi so fast?
How the hell did I make gnocchi so fast? I boiled them. I boiled the potatoes.
Okay.
So-
Wait. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I boiled the potatoes so that they can cook faster, and I can add seasoning to it in the pot, right? So I can add like salt and garlic and thyme, and then after that I remove them, and then I put them in the oven to try to remove as much of the moisture from that.
Wow.
But yeah, because when I first went into the challenge, I was like, okay, I'm going to bake these. But again, you don't really know if things are going to work. You don't really know. I mean, you're also put into this kitchen that's like complete chaos,
Yeah.
right? It's like 15 other chefs trying to cook at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I've made gnocchi so many times.
Cool.
It's just kind of a second nature thing. There was a point where I was the only one who made gnocchi at the restaurant that I worked at. And on top of that, I had 100 other things that I had to do. So I would time myself every time that I would make them. Okay, this time I'm 30 minutes, this time 20 minutes, you know? So just something that I've done for a long time.
Wow.
But yeah.
Master.
I can't do almost anything in 20 minutes. That's awesome.
But one of the reasons why I was so shocked I won was because I didn't know if they were going to work until plating. So it made it seem like I was really self-conscious about it, but it's like I had no idea whether they were going to work or not, because you're in Texas and it's humid as fuck.
Yes.
And so the thing about gnocchi is that you want to try to remove as much moisture from it as possible. But when you're working in a humid environment, it's kind of impossible to remove moisture.
Yeah.
So it was just like me trying to figure out, okay, are these going to work? Are they going to absorb too much moisture? And are they going to fall apart when they're in the pot?
Yeah.
So that was like the hardest part. It was like me trying to figure out, is it going to work? It's like you can make things 100 times, but you're put into these scenarios where it's like, okay, all the elements have changed. I mean, I live in San Francisco. I live in California, where the weather is very different.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those things where it was like, is this going to happen or not? So I was worried for sure. But yeah, I've just done them so many times.
That rules. From Amy, we have a question.
Okay.
Who
Hi,
would
Amy.
you choose for your dream restaurant team to be from this season's contestants?
From this season's contestants, like regardless of where they landed, or
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I would definitely do Sarah, because Sarah and I work so well together.
That's sweet.
I think Monique, because her and I also work really well together. We've done dinners here in San Francisco, and we live kind of in the same area. I've seen her the most since this show stopped. Yeah. I would probably choose Buddha just because of his technique.
Yeah.
And maybe Evelyn.
Cool.
Yeah. I love Evelyn. Yeah.
And kind of a question I have is, so this is from Reka, is what would your Restaurant Wars concept be?
Gosh, I think as I'm like getting older and as I'm kind of trying to figure out what exactly I want to do in the future, I think it would be kind of a mix between like what I grew up with and what I've learned throughout the years as the chef. So I would think a lot of Latin flavors, but very California. I hate to say that, and I hate to say the word California, but it's very like very market driven, right? It's very seasonal, but just kind of hitting it with very like Latin flavors. Just something that I've been exploring throughout the last maybe 2-3 years. Just kind of trying to learn my roots a little bit more, especially because my parents are getting older, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
Very seasonal, yeah.
Very cool.
But it's hard to put restaurant concepts together.
Sure.
Like when it's just, yeah. But I love the Southern, I love that they were able to like showcase Southern cuisine. I don't think that's ever happened on the show. I mean, it's like, yeah, you get clips of it here and there.
Kevin tried to do it in season 17. He did the country captain to try to but it's such a bummer. He was so overly ambitious for what Restaurant Wars could be.
Yeah.
He made like the country captain, but with like 17 extra components, and things, like condiments and stuff to go with it. So it kind of held the team into the ground a little bit, which sucks because it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like almost like not fine dining, but just like really upscaled Southern food.
Yeah, and I think that's something that happens a lot, especially when you like work in restaurants that are very fine dining. You kind of get this idea in your head that it's like, okay, now I'm going to elevate some sort of food, right? So it's like, okay, let's take Southern and let's elevate it. And it's like, well, it's been doing well the way that it is. Why don't you just like focus on that, But it's kind of that chef thing, right? Where it's like, okay, let's elevate this cuisine. And it's like, well, it doesn't really need to be elevated,
Jordan, did you have any other final questions?
I want to know, like, let's say you make it to like the final Top Chef challenge and they're like, okay, you said you don't have a signature dish, but they're like, make us your signature dish, make us anything. You have like one dish to impress us for the finale. Cause a lot of times they don't give you a lot of parameters for the very end. Do you have any ideas of what dish you would have made?
Yes, there is one dish in particular that I've thought about for a really long time, and it's basically based on beans, right? So growing up, like traveling to Mexico, there's a lot of my family that's very poor, right? And so they're very generous, right? Especially when it comes to food. And so I remember my uncle just making beans out of this like pot, right? It's just him outside making beans with cheese and tortillas. So the dish that I would make would be something similar to that, but just with my knowledge of how cuisine works, right? So it would be, instead of like black beans, it would be a butter bean. So it would be a butter bean with like a charred tortilla broth, like house-made queso fresco and tortillas. And it would just be really simple, just like a little hit of acid and maybe a little bit of allium. And it's just like very simple, very straightforward, just like reminiscent of childhood, reminiscent of like where I come from. It's like, it was very pedestrian, right? The frijoles de la olla. But that's what I think I would make.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. Broth sounds so good.
Hard tortilla broth. Ooh, I have chills.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us in the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find your food or find more about you?
So I'm a private chef in San Francisco. I do private dinners. If you want to learn more about me or see more stuff about me, you can go to my website. It's chefroberthernandez.com. And I post things on there, and I book dinners through there. Or my Instagram, same Instagram.
Love. Robert, I'm actually getting word from the Bravo producers over here. Robert, they want me to tell you, you are a top chef.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing.
A lot of people don't know this, but there's actually 2 ways to become a top chef. And we'll keep saying this until Bravo asks us to stop. The first way is to compete on the reality cooking competition show Top Chef. And the second way is to be a guest on this YouTube live stream show for charity hosted by me and Ray.
This is a lot better, I would say.
Thank you so much. And guess what? Either way, an Indian woman will tell you you're top chef. So it's actually the same.
Thank you, guys.
Of course. Thank you so much, Robert. And thank you guys for tuning in this week. Catch us here next week for the next episode. We're getting towards the end of the season. Uh-oh. Bye.